just the patriarchy that values women for beauty and childbearing and capacities to look after.
It's just male crap.
Every child is born creative and curious. We kill it in the education system. Time has been progressing. We've told a better story. We've learned to tell it differently. Control the old narrative. And we've said we don't want to talk about that anymore. We don't want black people in chains in the cotton fields. We don't want women to be inferior. We don't want gay people to be perverts and weirdos and put in mental homes. You know, women who have babies without men to be criminals. Actually, we don't want to tell those stories. And so we do it again. When I got to the end of it with the last line, which is I'm telling you stories, trust me, I thought, yeah. And this was because it's my second book. It's me now as a young person, as a young writer. A lot of people have it on T-shirts. You know, I go around the world and I keep seeing it on people's T-shirts. But it's a good line because it's about how everything is an invention, but it's one that we need to believe in. If you work creatively, if you make things up for a living, whatever it is, everything is a story. And that it can go in any direction. We can change the story because we are the story. There's no sky god doing this. So we shouldn't ever feel depressed and hopeless because this is our story. And every time there's been progress in the world, we've told a better story. We've learned to tell it differently. We've controlled the old narrative and we've said we don't want to talk about that anymore. We don't want black people in chains in the cotton fields. We don't want women to be inferior. You know, we don't want gay people to be perverts and weirdos and put in mental homes. You know, women who have babies without men to be criminals. Actually, we don't want to tell those stories. And so we do it again.
Can I ask, how did you realize that you have this talent of making up stories?
I was always doing it from when I was a small child because I didn't have an easy childhood, as you know, and a lot of it was very lonely and brutal. You know, my parents were brutal and they used to lock me up, leave me outside, and I was on my own, and it was painful. Nowadays, I'd have been taken away from them because you shouldn't do that to a child. But the only way I could deal with it, and we all find ways of dealing with things, was to start telling myself stories. So I would immediately invent another world where I could go that was interesting. You know, this was a great thing. And when I was reading in the library, I realized all these other people had been inventing worlds. This was very comforting and also strengthening because I thought, yeah, this is what you do and I can do this. I didn't think of it as a career or a job or anything like that, but it was always there. And so I brought it forward into my adult life.
Yeah, we always debating topics. Sometimes the debating topics are fictional and there would be a topic to ask you, right? If given a choice to pick the life start of your life, would you pick it or would you just be assigned to the life start or the childhood you had, which was miserable, as you said, but which also made you special?
I would keep it, not because I can't imagine a different person, but because it was valuable. And I think also as you get older, you know, we all know that memory is unreliable and we read the past differently. Sometimes I go there and I come across a memory and I think, oh no, leave it. And I do leave it because I think some things are too painful. Somewhere in one of my books, I write that not all dark places need light. Sometimes you just have to leave something alone. Mm. But even with all of that, it's made me the me that I am. So I respect it and I value it and I honor it. And I honor my ancestors, strangely, my adopted. I mean, when I think about it, I have more compassion for my parents every year, I think, because I understand more the awfulness of their lives and how hard it was for them. And my grandparents' lives, all of them. I feel compassion in a way that you don't when you're young. You just feel angry or you just think, wow, you're so stupid. And then you realize more. So that's there. And I do value that. So yeah, I think I'll keep it just as it is, and I won't change it because then there'll be different problems anyway, won't there? Whatever shape or form, you've got to work with what you have. You've got to. And I say this to young people. I say, look, it's a shit show right now. I know I'm full of sympathy for you, but this is what you've got. So for heaven's sake, do something with it, because your time will pass. You'll get older. It'll change. You've got to work with it now, while you've got energy, while you've got time on your side. Do it, because there's always difficulty and struggle, isn't there?
That's very powerful. Not that we ask for adversity, but at least to the people who are facing adversity, I think it's very powerful.
If this all happens, we will discover who we actually are. Let me tell you something I know for sure. Anything that is on the outside of you can be taken away by regime change or war or adversity. Any of us could find ourselves in a very difficult situation. What's on the inside is what really belongs to you. And that won't be taken away. And that's how people have survived the most terrible circumstances. When I was a young person, books weren't allowed in the house unless they were religious. But, as you know, I was hiding books under my bed, and my mother found them all and burned them. And that's when I knew that everything outside me could be destroyed, that I had to take the text, the books inside me. They had to become me. I had to remember them. I had to hold on to them. And that I have this inside belief that nothing would be taken away that actually was mine. And I think that's proved true. If we were on that road, I could tell you stories. I could recite you poems. I think I could cheer you up because of the things that I believe. And that can't be taken away. And that is why, in a world where everything is outsourced now, everything, pleasure, prosperity, memory, entertainment, everything is outsourced. What resources have we got inside that have not been outsourced that really are ours? And that does matter. And that's where reading and why what you're doing is so important. Because even if you you remember a story, you tell it to a child, the child's comforted and quieted. And that's what's so crucial, because you won't have your phone to look at. You'll just have whatever you've got.
I was trying to go back to the list, but I think what we just talked about is more meaningful.
I love what you're doing because, as you know, I'm a fan of AI. I think it's a great idea. We're going to fuck it up, but it's a great idea. And I'm also interested in what social media can do for good. So what you're doing is absolutely for good, because you're encouraging people to find things they wouldn't find, to think about them in ways they wouldn't think about them. You're giving them things to go on the inside. And that really matters, and that will make a difference, because everything starts from the inside. Every idea, every ideology, every bad idea, every good idea, even every building, it all starts in somebody's head. It's always invisible and on the inside to start with, and then it goes out into the world. So if you're showing people how to rebuild those life skills, this is what the human success story is. It's being creative, it's having ideas, it's having resources that are internal and then putting them into the outside world. And we've got it the wrong way around now, because we think everything's outside and we bring it in, but it's not. So you must continue this good work to reach as many people as you can, and don't have anybody say ever that it's trivial, it doesn't matter. It really matters. This is the work of your lives, and you must do it, right?
Thank you. That's what keeps us going.
Yeah.
I find this a good point to turn back to the topic. Many people say what is missing in their life is passion. When people send us messages, they say, I find myself interested in nothing. Do you feel we are living in an era, it's a tension economy, it's the passion just faded away? Do you think it's a good thing or bad thing?
Yeah, maybe I can give you a bit of context. Actually, I'm not sure whether in UK or Europe is the same, but in China, there have been studies on top mental problems for young people, including students and even young graduates. One of the top problem is the meaning or purpose is missing. People, the passion is missing. I think that's because...
And it is the same here. I don't think it's as powerful yet in Europe. I don't know about America, but in Europe it's not quite so bad. But yes, it is, you're right. And I think we're back to this business of what's inside and what's outside. We have really put everything on the outside, and that even the richest, most powerful people in the world don't find meaning there. It's not to be found on the outside. And the East was always much better than the West about understanding that the inside of life, the spiritual life, the invisible life, the contemplative life, the philosophical life, that was really important. And we didn't learn very well from the East. Right at the beginning, we talked about how you don't have one thing or the other. You have things which complement each other, which are in Tao, which are in balance. And of course, you need life on the outside, and it's interesting and exciting. We want to invent things. We need roads, we need to earn money, we need trade, commerce, all of that. But that's not life. We know that. That's why when you meet someone, you fall in love with them. And you think all of that, you think my money, I don't care. I love you. And that's where love is the original disruptor. I mean, it's a disruptive startup because love will disrupt everything that you thought you knew about yourself and the world, because suddenly it's all you care about. And that is really an indicator of what a human being is. We will give up everything for the person we loved. We have built a world that says you just need more outside and then you'll get more meaning. And it's not true. So that's why the job now, really urgent, crucial job, is to find meaning again that works from the inside out and not look for it from the outside in, because it's not going to happen.
On one hand, being passionate for something is so important. But in this book, we saw those people made irrational choices driven by passion.
Yeah. Anything that you really care about has an irrational element to it. It doesn't, like somebody says, oh, you should go and be a dentist because you learn lots of money. And you think, no, I don't want to. I want to go pony trekking in the Himalayas or whatever it is, because it's irrational. It doesn't make obvious sense, especially to somebody in the outside world. But it might be the thing that you have to do. That's what I call love this disruptor, because it forces you to rethink your values and what matters to you and where you want to go, who you want to be with, how you want to arrange your life. It forces that question, which often goes quite against common sense. It's why people used to have arranged marriages, still do, because they didn't want their children's lives being disrupted by love. They wanted them to be safe, to go on in the way that everybody's always gone on. But love doesn't do that. It just says, no, I'm going to disrupt you. And sometimes that can have terrible consequences. Sometimes it can be wonderful. But it's a truth about us as humans that we cannot just live by rationality, by common sense, by the obvious choices that we should make in order to put money in the bank. It's not enough. I mean, you show me a child on this planet ever that doesn't want what they always wanted. There's no toys, so they build a kingdom out of pots and pans. That's every child, that creative, playful, spontaneous energy that then we just kill and say, no, it's all about money and power and you got to go to work. And you just think, what? It's just a failure of imagination to manage what humans actually need. And a failure of imagination starts if you don't care about culture anymore. That's why we talked about what you're doing is so important. Yeah. If people have an imaginative life, if they can see beyond where they are, they can get there.
Recently, I listened to a Chinese woman writer saying, according to a study by Harvard, the most creative age of a woman is from 60 to 70. And the next most creative age is from 70 to 80. I want.
And the next one is 50 to 60.
I think that's because they're hoping that all the women will be dead before they get there, in case we change the world. What they're really saying is, because women have to look after their stupid men and bring up children, they haven't got time to do any creativity until they get to 60. So again, we've got structural inequality. That's all the study is looking at. I haven't had to service a male ego all my life, and I haven't had any children. So I've been very free. So I was able to start being creative immediately instead of doing all the other, choices are made. And men are still no good at supporting women in their creative lives. Women still have to do it all. They have to do the children, the job, everything. It's just pathetic. And men need to be called out on this continually until they change their ways. So I think we're all creative That's when I said to you about how kids are born. Every child is born creative and curious. We kill it in the education system with the lessons that we teach them about what the world's going to be like, who they are, what they should expect. We ruin it. The most important thing that we can do as humans is to keep our little humans creative and imaginative. Kids don't care first about material possessions. They don't know that they haven't got the latest whatever. They only learn it from our world. If they've got love and they're happy and excited and you're playing with them and you're showing them things, that's all they need. And we're the ones who teach them to have this world where everything has to be on the outside. So no wonder they get to their teenage years and feel really depressed.
Yeah, I think...
I am never bored. I have never been bored in my whole life, except talking to boring people. I can be bored in the company of others, but I have never been bored by myself in my whole life. There's always something to think about.
That's very inspiring. Actually, the quote she quoted from was also a feminist woman who is getting really old. I think she's maybe 70 plus. Mm-hmm. I think she was trying to counter this tradition or culture in the society that younger women...
Oh, the youth culture thing, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Are worth more. And people, whether women or male, they degenerate when they get older, whether their mind, their soul, their learning ability, especially women. Society value younger women for whatever value, the beauty, the ability to have children, to the ability to take care of others. Yeah. But when women get older, you in Chinese, there are terms which are used to describe older women who are not as attractive physically as younger women. Yeah. Traditionally, women's value actually goes lower when they get older. And I think the feminist is saying that, no, our life is much longer.
It should be.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But it's just the patriarchy that values women for beauty and childbearing and capacities to look after. It's just male crap.
Yes.
So we just throw it out. We just say, no, these are your values. We don't share them. Sorry, bye.
The work we do sometimes is on social media is about encouraging young women to make them look forward to the life in front of them. Some of them are very young. They are powerless. They are being forced by their parents to get married early. Yes. They are poor in their 20s. They do not know how to filter out other people's voices, so they feel lost, powerless. So what we are trying to do is to make them look ahead, to continue grow themselves both mentally, spiritually, or so that they have a more and more enriching life, even when they get older, but they are still as valuable, even better than the time when they were young.
I like the sunshine right behind you right now.
Oh yes, the sun's coming out today, but it's really snowy. Look, I'll show you. Do you see that?
Oh.
Yeah, you see, it's very cold and frosty today. That's my God. And then behind, you see, is the wood, and everything is very just wintry, really.
That's nice because you have green trees versus.
Yes. But I'm very much, in the deep countryside here.
Very nice. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. It's a pleasure talking with you.
Oh no, I had a great time. It was lovely talking to you. Let's try and make sure that I get to China and we meet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye. Not till February for you. Chinese New Year's February. Don't catch me out there.
Happy your New Year.
Happy my New Year. Bye-bye.
Bye.